First to visit the pension, a sexy red room master, open back, hop on, hop off, easy access, cocktail dressing. Those days skipping all the way from handling to acting.
Well, I think Andi McGarry is a genius. I think he makes the most beautiful books. Me and Kathy, we used to buy them for each other as Christmas presents and birthday presents. And I love it because it's all us got together. I've got loads of them all over the years. Anyway, Andi McGarry is one of my favourite artists in the world. He makes beautiful books, and before I knew Andi, I used to buy his books from the back page, from the publication supplement of the Artist newsletter, and I would give them to people as presents. And to Kathy, my partner, my lover, Kathy, we used to give each other these beautiful Andi McGarry books, and I quite often show them to students. And when I show them to students, I quite often exaggerate the mythological characters of the artist, Andi McGarry. I tell the students all kinds of stories about him being kind of like half mermaid and married to a mermaid and living in Ireland in the middle of nowhere in a caravan that it doesn't live in anymore because it blew away in a storm. And all of this is true, or partly true, I think. And but he makes really fantastic books that are completely optimistic and full of the joys of life, and he doesn't realise that he is a fantastic writer. He always says he thinks I'm a writer, but Andi has a way with words that nobody else has, that I know. They make you cry.
I'm going to introduce you now to a very exciting artist, John Bentley, who is also my sort of fairly lifelong friend. 20 odd years, we've known each other a bit longer even still. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of his works. Yeah, John is a wordsmith, he is a poet, he's a writer and he's an artist, and he combines all these skills to make these amazing artist books known as Liver and Lights. He's been making them for as long as I can remember anyway. And we're very passionate about how we describe this love, you know, how we kind of, what's the word, come to our descriptions of things. And so, yeah, describing the world, naming the world, these are all kind of in the realm of the Bentley world. He kind of he plucks the things discarded off the street and turns them into art. He kind of takes people's stories and adds little bits of stuff to them and turns them into kind of wonderful things as well. He is a magician. He's capable of all kinds of very exciting things. This book, for example, which is brings us to Singing the Deptford, The Creek, was presented to me, to Andi McGarry, on the occasion of the voyage down the creek. And we made a couple of boats, we were looking for somewhere to put them, and they suggested Deptford Creek. And when they said Deptford Creek, I said, there's such a place as Deptford Creek, you know. So then I rang John up straight away and said, John, I'm putting a boat in your creek. You've got to come down and see this. Yeah. So he came down with his kids, Freya and Arthur, and they watched the launching of the two boats in Deptford Creek. And then he duly presented me with this wonderful book, The Creek. And it's one of my more treasured possessions. I absolutely love this book for how I got it, how I came by it, and the story that's attached to it. And John's like that, you know. He'd probably tell a slightly different story than the story I just told there about that story. John's books, like the lost thing concerning the lost things of Harrow, is all about the things that people find on the streets and how he turns those things into art in the book, you know. I think we kind of the approaches are similar, you know. We're going along on a kind of a trawl, if you like, you know, looking for stuff that we can find ways to kind of bookify, you know, put into books, turn into art in books. I think something like that, anyway. And maybe there's something more. For example, here, you know, I might find a nice piece of laminaria or seaweed or something like that, you know, and somehow or other I might find some inspiration. John might equally find on the back of a cigarette packet underneath a bin by a tube station in Harrow somebody's kind of shopping list with a kind of personal message as well, and he will find a way of turning that equally into as much interest in art as I would. Robin in the handles.
Oh no, it's the dog.
If you'd like to follow me, walking through the house here, down the corridor. Well, we live by the sea, so we have view of the harbour and the islands. And then next to these islands called the Salty Islands, run by a self-proclaimed Prince Neil. When it's nice, we do activities like, for example, we go in boats and canoeing. Follow me down here. So from my bedroom to the water, in terms of lifeboat, you could launch in about under five minutes, I'd say, get in the water. This time of year as well, we have a lot of swallows, which I love. You know, when the swallows arrive, it's very exciting because they trawl backwards and forwards along this hatch here. You know, we have some kind of dangerous steps which you spiral down. A lot of my work is about the sea. You know, things to do with the sea, sea-based experiences, sea ideas. You know, stuff like that. How could you not, you know, be that close to it? And affects almost everything that you think and you do, and it's a good thing to be, you know, that close to the source of your inspiration. As you can see, my vegetables, potatoes and what have you, garden stuff.
Yes, this is the back of my studio, the railway tracks. So how close it is. There's my studio there, there's the railway tracks there. There's lots of kind of greenery in South London. So it's not really like being in the concrete jungle, but anyway, I'll show you that. House, my neighbour houses. It's my back alleyway. Go into my house, my paintings. Down there is Wilton Road. This is Wilton Road, and down there, almost where there's that big white house on the left is, just past there. That's where the riot started in 1981. They put a barricade across. Things are a lot quieter now, as you can see. So anyway, over there. That's the big tower block that overlooks Brockwell Park.
That's a van.
Come on. This is my place where I sit and contemplate the world. Hi Lynette. It's my neighbour Lynette. Very friendly place, Brixton, isn't it, Arthur?
Yeah, it is indeed.
Yeah, very friendly place. Look, this is Arthur. What do you think about living here? It's cool.
What I'm going to talk about now is Sun, Moon and Stars Press artist books. Each one is kind of a copy of a copy. So each one, by its very nature, even the letter B will be different to that B, it'll be different than that B. Because each one is handmade, each one will have individuality sort of within its ranks, as it were. So on the first page there, I see already there's little miniature variations. And there's a thread, there's a narrative that runs through the book as well, with this book ID wed to have and to hold. And as you turn the pages, from this page forth, you can see that the page has gone over that side and there, whereas it's like that. A lot of my books are about journeys, and this would be a big batch of journeys here, all made in various homemade boats, and journeys therein that took place, sort of speedy kind of accounts in these boats of the last number of years. The brave soul. Sometimes I'll chop and change. There's usually a few pictures, drawings, an idea sometimes the way the paddle sings the songs. When I find a theme that I quite like paddle notes, I started to mine that, and so then came this other paddle notes 2002, where I was using a marbling technique where I marbled the papers after I'd kind of drawn very sort of inky black pictures. So here we have a sort of the memory of one particular day in Kilmore Quay where I'm kind of paddling with the family in this really amazingly sublime kind of environment, but also it became part of my scrapbook, you know, odd pictures and old prints and, you know, photographs of past works and such forth.
Our spiders fill the corners, drafting every day, and all our ghosts to leave, don't seem to like the blue. I've got the wildwood rattle window creaking, or missing time, falling down, broken house blue. Alright. Fireplace needs fixing, the bathroom stripping taps, shower scald on freezes you, and the wind misses through the gaps. I've got a wildwood rattle window creaking, or missing time, falling down, broken house blues.
This is my studio, and I'm going to show you some stuff in my studio. Right, this is these are lost things. This is a book that I'm making. These are books that were made in Harrow. It's all handwriting that was found in Harrow. I'm just kind of like sticking things in these so that they can go into shops. And these are all my portraits here. And this is a book that I've been making. This is see this portrait here. This is an old friend of ours, Damien Gascoigne. I made so far 123 of these. They're all the people that I know in my life, and I'm turning them into kind of little boxfuls of collectible cards with poems on the back. That was my last but one book, so I'm really proud about that. Got fantastic poems, as you can see, little kind of book about it. As you can see, I have a really fantastically ordered filing system and what have you. All these boxes are full of books and stuff, and here's this is an old Ghanaian hairdressing handmade sign. I use it as inspiration. It's a really fantastically, it's so wonderfully badly made. As you know, this is Railton Road in Brixton, and behind it's called Railton Road because it was built along the railroad, and that's there running behind the back. Handmade, hand-carved things, very beautiful. As you know, I don't just make books, I perform the books. Here is it's the Skellington Bones, fantastic live performance thing there. What else can I show you? Here's some books that are being kind of stuck together. It's my sticking together pile. There's all kinds of stuff in here that's half made and kind of almost made. And finally, I'm going to show you in here something which not a lot of people get to see these days because I haven't worn them to my sort of after. But this is where I keep my my handmade shoes. Why do I make handmade shoes? That is a secret yet to be revealed. Okay.
With the recent scene.
Back present, the paints and the sexy red brick must open back, hop on, easy exit, cocktail dress. In those days, skipping all the way from Andi to Accent, Camberwell Green, the Walworth Road, Elephant Castle, Piccadilly Circus, Oxford Circus, Shepherd's Bush, past Notting Hill Gate and all the way to Accent Green for 40p. Now, Road Page, welcome to Page.
Well, this is me and Kathy, my partner, whom I love, and I don't really know what to say about that other than that I think that the most important things in life are the people you love and that they love you. That's my my partner, Kathy, and my kids, Arthur, who's waving behind the camera, and Freya, who can't be here because she's a teenager now and she's out gallivanting in Bromley, wasting her money on looking in shops and going, oh. That's what they do. When I tell her that that's what teenagers do, she never speaks to me again for my whole life.
Yeah.
And I love them all absolutely desperately, and they are my work and my life, I suppose. My work and my life. There you go. Is that good?
Very good.
I know. Can I play a song that
Very
I've written? I've written a song for Catherine on my new homemade bass guitar, which will cover up her face. Okay. And this is it. So can you still see her face?
I can.
Okay.
That wobbly bit was her bottom. Which is my favourite bit. No, not really. My favourite bit about you is your mind.
Of course.
Right, so we're just going on a quick trip up through the village now. I have my daughter with me and my missus. My daughter's going to see her friend Rachel, who apparently has guinea pigs. It's quite exciting. That's my daughter in the back there, if you want to have a look there, that's Pippa. I have another daughter called Sarah, who's currently with her boyfriend, her new boyfriend. And then I have a son as well also, who's on his holidays, on his holidays at the moment, in Croatia, of all places. So we're just going to drive up through the village now. As you can see, this is the village where I live. That's the local pub that just opened yesterday after being out of commission for a while, so there's great excitement in the pub right now, in the pub, great excitement in the place right now because the pub has opened again, one of the more thatched villages in Ireland apparently, you know. Post office there. Yeah, so I spent a lot of time driving the car around, driving people to people's houses to look at guinea pigs and driving boyfriends and girlfriends around the place, and that's kind of part of the course, I suppose. What I like about some of John's musical projects include the band with the cast of thousands, where all the people turned up to gig with homemade instruments, and I thought that was very funny. You know, you could have this gig where people turn up with stuff and then make the fun out of that, you know. So yeah, my music would of course include playing with the famous Mr. Bentley. When he was over last year, we had a couple of very nice musical sessions where we, amongst other things, we created a couple of songs, and that got us very enthused over the whole thing. At the door. So you've seen both of my daughters now.